Prepare for an event Britain hasn't seen since 1953. Queen Elizabeth's coronation was watched by more than 200 million people worldwide, including this little boy who is now at the centre of this spectacle. Westminster Abbey will be the focal point, plus there's the promise of 2 processions with plenty of pageantry. But also at its core will be the community, a chance for the bunting to be rolled out once again with street parties back on the calendar.
It's been quite a tricky time for everybody through the pandemic and now in a cost of living crisis and so forth. So it's really, really hard. But when you come out of the winter and you have the spring and you're bringing people together, you really need moments where you can bring people together and have a spark of joy.
This is what a visit from King Charles and the Queen Consort brought to this community project in East London.
This was our big lunch back in June as part of the Queen's Jubilees.
It was their first official engagement in the country after their ascension, and it's why the organisation will be celebrating.
It's a moment in time, regardless of what your views, you'll remember what you were doing on during that weekend or on that day.
There will be plenty to mark the occasion, including a televised concert at Windsor Castle with stars showcasing Britain's diversity. And Monday's bank holiday is being billed as a volunteering day to recognise the King's public service. On Saturday the 6th of May, all eyes will be on Westminster Abbey, just as they were 70 years ago. And it will be just as grand, a service and a ceremony filled with tradition. But the question is, who will be there? With tensions between the household and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex on a knife edge, will an invite make it across the Atlantic? Prince Harry has said the door remains open, but after revelations in his memoir, reconciliation seems far off.
The King himself, he's a mild-mannered man, Charles. He's a decent man, and he would want both his sons there. So I very much hope for him on a personal level that Harry and Meghan are there. But also I think the optics internationally mean that it's important there is a form of reconciliation.
One person is guaranteed to be missed. This time, the next generation will be on the palace's balcony. But the message will be the same, one of unity and celebration.
Let me tell you something my father told me.
Everything the light touches is our kingdom.
But a king's time as ruler rises and falls like the sun. One day, the sun will set on my time here and will rise with you as the new king.
The future king!
I am Mufasa.
Όταν τα είδε πλημελήματα και προσφυλώντας η πίστη και προσδεχομένη στη βία στην ανθρωπία, είτε επλημέλησε εν λόγω η έργο για τα διάνοια συγχώρησε ανεξάρτητον και καθάρισε αυτόν πάσης απατίας.
Εδέ φρόνιμοι έλαβον έλαβε της αγγής αυτών μετά των λαπάτων αυτών, φρονίζοντος δε του νυμφίου ενίσταξαν πάσα και εκάθετον.
We had this special service for the sanctification of the holy oil here in the heart of Jerusalem, that is to say, in the holy sepulchre, in the very tomb of our Lord Jesus Christ.
Μη πάντες Απόστολοι, μη πάντες προφήτε, μη πάντες διδάσκαλοι,
μη πάντες δυνάμεις, μη πάντες χαρίσματα έχουσιν οι αμάτων, εις ύψος ημούς Γεωβέ, συνήρθη η Ασία, ότι καθ' υπερβολήμεθα υπερπερδί.
The Queen, risen from prayer, is disrobed of her crimson robe. She goes to King Edward's chair, and 4 knights of the Garter bring and hold over her a canopy of cloth of gold. It is the moment of the anointing, the hallowing, a moment so old, history can scarcely go deep enough to contain it. The hallowing, the sacring, the spirit cleansed, as in the East the body was anointed and made clean. The Queen anointed, blessed, and consecrated.
Today, Queen Elizabeth II is the head of state of the great nation of the Hebrew Covenant called Great Britain. Her genealogy chart, according to the College of Heralds in London, traces her blue bloodline back to Abraham, whom many modern scholars believe to be the Egyptian pharaoh, Amenemhet I. By connecting 22 dots, the true Hebrew and royal Egyptian identity of Queen Elizabeth II comes into focus. Number 1. What is the stone of Jacob, a Hebrew patriarch, doing beneath the Queen's throne chair? Number 2. Why was the Queen crowned at her coronation ceremony on top of a symbolic Egyptian step pyramid? Number 3. The monarch's crown has 12 stones at the base, each representing the 12 Hebrew tribes. The 12 stones of the 12 tribes were also worn on the breastplate of Hebrew high priests in Canaan. Number 4. The Union Jack represents the reunion of the United Kingdom of the 12 tribes of Jacob, or Jacob. The Union Jack is red, white, and blue, the same colors as the 3 crowns of Egypt. Number 5. The royal scepter originates in ancient Egypt and was carried by the Egyptian god Amun and by Egyptian pharaohs, who called themselves the Son of God. The royal scepter is now carried by Pharaonic descendant Queen Elizabeth II. Her scepter contains the world's largest cut diamond, called the Star of Africa.
She keeps a Moet Chandon in a pretty cabinet. Let them eat cake, she says, just like Marie Antoinette. Building a remedy for Khrushchev and Kennedy. At any time of invitation you can't decline. To avoid complications, she never kept the same address. In conversation, she spoke just like a baroness. Middleman from China, but down to gauge your mind. Then again, incidentally, you're that way clean. Perfume came naturally from Paris, because she couldn't get fastidious and precise. She's a killer queen, gunpowder gelatine, dynamite with a laser beam, guaranteed to blow your mind.
Oh, the throat. Number 6. The Queen's punishing flail or whip is partially hidden under her arm. The flail or whip also originates with the pharaohs of ancient Egypt. Number 7. The symbol of the bee can be found within the queen's royal wardrobe. In ancient Egypt, bees were the symbol of Egyptian royalty, as well as the symbol of Egypt.
The most high-profile tourists of the day arrived on the outskirts of Cairo to take in a true wonder of the world. The Great Pyramid, the largest in Egypt and oldest in Giza. Prince Charles has been here before, but this was the first time for Camilla on the third day of their Middle East tour. As the sun set, the couple, their entourage and the media made their way to see the magnificent Sphinx. Posing for the cameras again, this the image that Egypt wants us to see.
These are, of course, the pictures that will always sell so well from any royal tour. But what is most important is that significant diplomatic work that's going on behind the scenes. And when you drive around Cairo, you can see exactly why.
The royal couple would have seen all of this, the poverty, pollution and crowded streets, even through the tight security, as they made their way to meet controversial President Sisi, who came to power in a military coup 8 years ago, but still faces serious questions about his human rights record. Something campaigners hope the prince was brave enough to raise.
We would hope so, is that the prince would raise important human rights conditions and violations with President Sisi. We would want to make that this visit would not just be used for propaganda purposes.
Of course, both sides would want these public displays of friendship, especially with Egypt following the UK and hosting the next climate conference, COP27. The prince praising their ancestors who created the pyramids.
The fact that they could do this reminds us how profoundly they understood the sacred geometry of nature. The fact that they did so, the fact that they did do this reminds us that they understood this knowledge was essential to life and death.
A rallying message to his hosts and a global audience, with these pictures destined to be sent around the world.
From Warner Brothers Pictures. Without this memory, we leave the fate of our world to chance. You must not fail.
You need us, Harry.
Fight back, you coward!
Wir, Megan und ich, freuen uns sehr, heute hier zu sein. And the American man here was incredibly fast. Really incredibly fast. Really incredibly fast.
Quite close, isn't it?
Oh. Message? Oh, from Michelle. How very amusing. So would you like to watch it together?
Yes.
Let's have a look.
Hey, Prince Harry. Remember when you told us to bring it at the Invictus Games?
Careful what you wish for.
Boom.
Oh, really? Please.
Boom.
It's the historic moment everyone's buzzing about. Melania Trump meeting Prince Harry for the first time. And Inside Edition was right there. Melania wore a smart checkered pantsuit for her first official solo trip as First Lady.
So when you were 9, you went to hospital for an operation. What was that for?
That was for my Harry Potter scar, as I call it, just here. I call it that because it glows sometimes, and some people notice it, and other times people don't even notice it at all. but I got hit by a golf club when I was playing golf with a friend of mine. We were on a putting green, and the next thing you know, there was a 7-iron, and it came out of nowhere and hit me in the head.
Thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you any one that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Lord, and because of these abominations the Lord thy God doth drive them out from before thee.
Number 2. And number 3. Hi Dan, hello, this is Dumbledore's Army. Hello Dan, how are you? You're fine, so, would you like to, number 2? Sorry. And then number 3. There we are, do you think you're up for that? You're up for that?
It's easy when you're up for it.
Ready? So if you like to, if you want to move out a little bit so we can get some space, so if you like to come into kids, if you want to move out this way for me.
Don't be scared, when you get there.
What happened to my wife, okay? Kids, can you move this way for me, please?
Yeah.
What you're doing?
No.
I'll follow you back. Absolutely. So exactly that. Yeah, exactly. So kids, do you want to take a step back? That'd be absolutely fantastic for me. So we've got number 1, like that, and then number 2, like that. What you do is you put your left arm forward and you flick your wand up like that way.
It was a question of condensing and editing and sculpting a book out of this mass of stuff that I had on Harry. And I thought that if it got published, I really thought it's a book for obsessives. It's a book for the kind of people who enjoy every little tiny detail about the world, because I have every little tiny detail about the world.
So, do you fancy having a duel? Should be in the film. You should have been in the film, absolutely. So, if you want to stand this side, and face initially was the idea, and you stand this side, I'll move out the way. So, what you do, I'll do it with you. So, get ready to move number 1, so your right arm back, like that. So, number 1.
To make it as comfortable as
Number 2. Is that. And then number 3 is that. And I win. So, fantastic. Give me a round of applause.
Number 8. The symbols on the British coat of arms reveal Britain's Hebrew origin. According to the Bible, the harp symbolizes the Hebrew King David. The biblical lion and unicorn holding up the shield symbolize the nation of Israel. The motto, Dieu et mon roi, means God and my right, indicating the divine right of the British monarch to an eternal throne.
Revelation chapter 13, verse 2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet was as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority. What you are looking at is the coat of arms for Prince Charles of Wales. And by association, it is also the coat of arms for Harry, Prince of Wales. The first thing to notice is the beast on the left. You will notice by the red oval that the body of the beast is likened unto a leopard. Secondly, you will notice by the green circle that the feet of the beast are likened unto the feet of a bear. Thirdly, you will notice by the blue circle that the mouth of the beast is likened unto the mouth of a lion. Fourthly, you will notice a pink circle on the coat of arms. Inside this pink circle is a red dragon. This red dragon is the red dragon on the flag of Wales. This red dragon represents Satan, or Lucifer, the fallen angel, or the devil, or the serpent of old. And it is from this dragon that Harry gets his power.
So my thanks to each and every one of you. To those that are here, to those that are in part in creating this, and most of all, thank you to all of you for helping to save more lives now and for the future of our country. It is a tremendous pleasure to be here with you at the start and the launch of the Dragon's Heart Hospital. Many thanks.
In a facility named so evocatively and so appropriately, Calon y Ddraig, what can I say except diolch o galon, and express the warmest possible thanks for what you have done and all that you will do in this hospital and all those other field hospitals across Wales where buildings have been transformed as part of the immense effort to combat the dreadful threat we face. Clongavach Yadai Ichigi.
It matters not how straight the gate, how charged the punishment, the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. What a magnificent soul it was. Careful what you wish for.
Invictus, everywhere you find it associated with bombings, war, and the maiming of human beings. Even the Invictus games themselves are for our wounded warriors, wounded in war, no doubt by bombs. I am unconquered. The statement of defiance, rebellion, witchcraft. The poem itself seems as a declaration by Satan himself. The author, William Ernest Henley, required amputation due to complications arising from tuberculosis. Immediately after the amputation, he was told that his other leg would require a similar procedure. While recovering in the infirmary, he was moved to write the verses that became Invictus.
I bomb atomically, Socrates' philosophies and hypotheses. Can't define how I be dropping these mockeries.
Boom.
I bomb atomically, Socrates' philosophies and hypotheses. Can't define how I be dropping these mockeries.
Published in 1888, the last verse in the poem is charged with defiance towards the Christian God of the Bible. It matters not how strait the gate. An obvious reference to, enter ye in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat.
Allow us to escape hell, globe spinning bomb, pocket full of shells out the sky, golden arms.
So in order to save this planet, I had to trick it with the greatest practical joke in human history.
Really? Please.
Boom.
Killing millions.
To save billions. A necessary crime.
Obama quoted Nelson Mandela's favourite poem, Invictus, in his speech at Mandela's funeral. It is interesting to note that the Church of Satan also uses Invictus to illustrate its own ideals. In the book, The Church of Satan, A History of the World's Most Notorious Religion, Invictus is used in the book as the opening epigraph.
I'm so honored to be with you all today and to have this opportunity to lead the United States delegation here to Canada to support all of you as you compete in this year's games. Invictus means unconquered and pays tribute to your fighting spirit. You have given so much for your country. You truly are our heroes. On behalf of my husband and our entire country, I want to thank you and your families for all you have sacrificed to keep us safe. I also want to wish you good luck. Take that fighting spirit that I know you have and bring home the gold.
Chapter 6, Satan's Master Plan. LaVey affirms his commitment to destroy Christianity and herd mentality in all forms. It presents the 5-point program of satanic goals to change the world. Chapter 4, What Demons Conjured. Chapter 3, The Modern Prometheus. Chapter 2, Diabolical Consequences. Chapter 1, Let the Games Begin.
Out of the night that covers me, black as a pit from pole to pole.
I thank whatever gods may be.
For my unconquerable soul.
In the fell clutch of circumstance,
I have not winced nor cried aloud.
Under the bludgeonings of chance.
My head is bloody,
but unbowed.
beyond this place.
of wrath and tears.
Looms but the horror of the shade.
And yet the menace of the years.
Finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate,
how charged with punishments the scroll.
I am the master of my fate.
I am the captain of my soul. I am Invictus.
Number 9. The headdress worn by judges and the Queen's high-ranking officials originate in ancient Egypt. Number 10. Kilts like the one worn by Prince Charles originate with the Egyptian pharaohs who wore white kilts.
Thank you,
Number 11. The hymn, Zadok the Priest, written by Handel, was performed at the Queen's coronation in 1952. Zadok the Priest was a biblical priest who anointed the Hebrew King Solomon while the people cried, "God save King Solomon! Long live King Solomon! May the king live forever!"
God save Queen Elizabeth! Long live Queen Elizabeth! May the Queen live forever!
Number 12. During the coronation ceremony, the Queen turns to face the four corners of the globe. The orb carried by the Queen represents the globe over which the monarch rules. Number 13. The monarch's coronation gifts of a rod, bracelet, and a ring are a reenactment of the Bible story of the Hebrews, Judah, and Tamar. Number 14. Royal jubilees originate in ancient Egypt. Egyptian pharaohs celebrated their jubilees after 30 years of rule. In pharaonic tradition, the Queen has celebrated both silver and golden jubilees. Number 15. Incest was practiced by ancient Egyptian royalty. Mothers married sons and brothers married sisters to keep the power and the money all in the family. Like their pharaonic ancestors, the British monarchy have a long history of incestuous inbreeding. Number 16. The corpses of deceased pharaohs were preserved and entombed beneath their pyramid temples. The corpses of 19 deceased British monarchs are also preserved in marble tomb slabs beneath the modern-day temple called Westminster Abbey. Number 17. The ancient pharaohs advertised their power with their image on coins and stone monuments. The power of the queen worldwide is advertised with her image printed on more coins and stamps than any other head of state in history.
Hello there, hi. Welcome to Heritage House. Come on in, I'll show you around. These are all photographs of the Queen. I bought a box from the Royal Shop and there were 30 actual pictures of photographs of the Queen. So then I had the bright idea of framing them. So I had to run around the shops to make sure I got enough frames because I didn't want different colours or anything. I wanted white ones. These are the royal children. This is Prince George here, so he's got the most because he's going to be king one day, isn't he? And then we come on to Charlotte, who they say absolutely runs Kensington Palace. You've got to laugh really, haven't you? Girls can be like that though, can't they? And then we have the Diana room. I think it's wonderful that she's done 70 years on the throne. The one thing that does upset me is the fact that Prince Philip isn't here, because that would have made such a difference for her. They've been together all those years, and I think if he'd have been there, that would have really, really made it.
Number 18. The structure of government in ancient Egypt was a step pyramid model, with the Grand Vizier and priesthood one step below the pharaoh. Today's monarchy reigns using a much more sophisticated pyramid model of authority. Number 19. The Pope's headdress is strikingly similar to the headdress of the Egyptian god Amun. His bent cross resembles the scepter of Amun. Number 20. Like the Egyptian pharaohs, British monarchs wear signet rings, which over the millennia have been passed down from their Hebrew ancestors. Number 21. The British Mint recently printed legal tender coins called the One True Ring and the Ring of Power. On one side of the coin is Queen Elizabeth II. On the flip side is the ring from Lord of the Rings. These legal tender coins printed by the British Mint raise the disturbing question, who is the real Lord of the Rings?
Men also wear jewellery. Prince Charles was dapper as usual, wearing a tie pin that features the monogram of King Boris III of Bulgaria. He's worn the same pin at Royal Ascot on previous occasions. For the second day, he chose his diamond tie pin shaped like Prince of Wales feathers. He also added a little extra flair this year with a pair of Union Jack cufflinks. And particularly noticeable was his signet ring. Of course, this isn't a new addition to Charles' look. The prince has been photographed wearing the ring since the mid-70s. Signet rings have been used since Old Testament times. They are engraved with a family crest or personal signature, which can reflect the owner's social status. Traditionally, a family crest is engraved in reverse on the bezel of the ring. Although initials, letters and monograms are also popular. This allows one to wax, signature seal correspondence with one's family mark. The signet ring is traditionally worn on the pinky finger of the non-dominant hand. Charles' piece of jewellery is 180 years old. It is the official signet of the Prince of Wales. Features 3 white ostrich feathers encircled by a gold coronet. It was created for Charles' great-great-granddad Edward VII, and been passed through generations from a Prince of Wales to a successor of the title. The ring was last worn by Charles' great-uncle, King Edward VIII, when he was still Prince of Wales.
One ring to rule them all.
The inscription on the ring reads, "One ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness of their ignorance find them." Number 22, the covenant that the biblical God gave to Abraham was a promise to make his name great and to make for him a great nation. Today, Great Britain is the only nation called great. In Hebrew, the word Britain literally means land of the covenant, and British means man of the covenant.
The media has misled the public into believing that the British monarch is a symbolic, ceremonial figurehead with little or no real power, that she is a harmless old relic who passes her time sipping tea at the palace. Nothing could be further from the truth. The Queen embodies the crown and supreme world power. Presidents of the United States are forbidden any title of nobility and are subservient to the monarch. Prime ministers in Commonwealth nations like Canada and Australia are her prime ministers, and she is their head of state. Just like the Masonic symbols that are hidden in the American dollar bill, the 1% that rule the 1% that rule the 99% are also hiding in plain sight. They are hiding by reigning instead of ruling. The British monarch reigns. She has chosen not. Instead, she delegates her powers to presidents and prime ministers. This protects her from becoming a target of political hostilities. Meanwhile, the general public is kept in the dark about her true powers. So what exactly are the supreme powers that the monarch possesses? She has the power to grant titles like Sir.
Queen guitarist Brian May has been knighted by King Charles during a ceremony at Buckingham Palace. The 75-year-old was honoured for his music and charity work. Sir Brian May performed at Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee in 2022, as well as her Golden Jubilee in 2002. May posted a photo of the moment on Instagram saying he had no words.
The Queen has the power to call elections and dissolve Parliament. She can dismiss prime ministers and the government. She can declare a state of emergency and command the armed forces. She can even declare war through her Prime Minister without even the consent of Parliament. There's a reason why the Queen's image appears on more coins, stamps, and paper currency than any other head of state in world history.
The death of Queen Elizabeth II has sparked renewed interest in British memorabilia in Hong Kong, which for 156 years lived under the British Crown until its return to China in 1997. The first weekend after the monarch's passing, business was brisk at one of the city's souvenir shops, selling items like postcards and commemorative coins. The House of Men shop in the main Causeway Bay shopping district claimed it had welcomed tenfold more customers than normal. During her reign, Queen Elizabeth visited Hong Kong twice, once in May 1975 and a second time in October 1986.
But she came to a concert at Wembley Stadium in London, and you know, they do when the royal family comes, you have to line up and you meet the family and everything. But at some point, she called me away from the line, and I saw Prince Charles look at me, and I said, "Oh boy." She said, "I want to talk to you." So I said, "Yeah, what's happening?" She said, "Are you going to do Dirty Diana tonight?" I said, No, I took it out of the show, out of respect for you." She said, "That's my favorite song." I said, "Are you serious?" I said, "I took it out of respect because Dirty Diana, you're in the audience." So at that point, I couldn't put it back in the show because it was too close to showtime. So I remember Prince Charles leaving the line, walking over to us, and he said, "What are you talking about?" And she said, "Oh, nothing," like that. So that was that story. And there's a couple of other ones, but I don't want to, say too much.
Who is Princess Diana, and how did she get mixed up with the world's most heartless, power-crazed inbreds? Officially, Diana's father was the 8th Earl John Spencer. He was a descendant of the 5th Earl John Spencer, who was a groom of the stool. What, pray tell, is a groom of the stool? A groom of the stool is responsible for stools, the kind you sit on and the kind you expel. In other words, a groom of the stool wipes royal bottoms. The 5th Earl John Spencer wiped the ass of His Highness the Prince of Wales from 1862 to 1866.
Mom, Emily really needs to use the bathroom. I do.
Oh, hello, Emily.
I need to go again. Excuse me?
Let me guess.
Uh-huh.
Velvety Soft Royale Velour bathroom tissue is not only irresistibly plush and thick, it will leave you feeling comfortable and clean. Wow. Irresistibly plush and thick Royale Velour. Try Velour in a popular triple roll for 3 times fewer roll changes.
Would Charles, who is today's Prince of Wales, marry and mix his family's precious royal blood with Diana if she was from a bloodline of lowly wipers? Of course not. According to the New York Times best-selling author Tina Brown, Sir James Goldsmith is Diana's real father. He had a long-term affair with Diana's mother during her marriage to Earl John Spencer. Multiple news sources maintain that James Goldsmith and Diana's mother Frances were lovers when Diana was conceived. Diana's mother was deeply unhappy in her marriage to Earl John Spencer, who drank heavily and acted beastly towards her. She finally divorced him and remarried in 1969. What kind of a man was James Goldsmith, the alleged real father of Princess Diana? Goldsmith was a Jewish bankster and one of the 20 wealthiest men in the world. Despite his criminal money laundering and bankruptcy schemes, he was never charged with anything. Why? Because Goldsmith was a ruthlessly vulgar man who was above the law.
But people are upset by vulgarity. And vulgarity is to some degree a sign of vigor. It means that new people, coming from nowhere, are making it. It's the old American dream. Anybody can become a millionaire. So if we want change, if we want vigor, we're going to have vulgarity. It's one of the things which irritates, which is necessary.
James Goldsmith's ancestors were neighbors of the Rothschild banksters in Frankfurt, Germany. The Goldsmith and Rothschild families intermarried. Princess Diana shared a striking family resemblance to James Goldsmith's three children, Zach, Ben, and Jemima. They are allegedly Diana's half-brothers and sister. Diana most closely resembles Zach Goldsmith. How close are the Goldsmiths to the Rothschilds nowadays? What kind of childhood did the Queen's German husband, Prince Philip, have? The answer can be found in a biographical book called Elizabeth, Behind Palace Doors. Philip's mother was Princess Alice Battenberg, granddaughter of Queen Victoria. She was diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic and committed to a mental institution in Switzerland. Philip's German father ran off with a wealthy mistress, which left the boy parentless. Philip's uncle, George Mountbatten, became his surrogate father and legal guardian. Unfortunately, Uncle George had the same perverse reputation as Uncle Dickie. George Mountbatten kept a scandalous collection of child pornography that he bound into volumes and emblazoned with the family crest. Most disturbing were pictures of family orgies and bestiality in which children and animals were sexual participants. The question is, was George's adopted son Philip a participant? George Mountbatten's porn collection now resides at the British Museum, where it is kept in a hidden repository of artifacts deemed pornographic and unfit for public viewing. It is a well-known fact that child victims of sexual predators commonly identify with their abusers and grow up to become sexual predators themselves. Like her husband, Prince Philip, Queen Elizabeth came from a royal family of name changers, and for precisely the same reason, to cover up their German identity. Before 1917, the British royals bore the German name of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, which was changed to the more British-sounding name of Windsor. The Queen and Philip are both the great-great-grandchildren of Queen Victoria, who married her German first cousin. That makes Elizabeth and Philip inbred kissing cousins. When it comes to inbreeding horror stories, the Ozark mountain families are no match for the royals. The Queen's first cousins, Nerissa and Catherine Bowes-Lyon, were severely mentally handicapped and incarcerated in a state-run asylum in 1941. Cousin Nerissa is now deceased, but the Queen's look-alike cousin Catherine is still alive. She's mentally retarded, neglected, and never visited. The Queen also has 3 second cousins who were sent to the same mental hospital on exactly the same day as Catherine and Nerissa. Burke's Peerage is a prestigious directory that records the who's who lineage of the British aristocracy. It falsely recorded that the Queen's first cousins Nerissa and Catherine died in 1940 and 1961.
Every family has secrets they would rather the world not know, even the most famous of them all.
Receive this kingly sword, brought now from the altar of God, and delivered to you by the hands of us, the bishops and servants of God, though unworthy. With this sword do justice, stop the growth of iniquity, protect the holy church of God, help and defend widows and orphans.
Vicky anoints the head of Simba at the start of the movie, and actually they're very, very clever with these things, because not only does he anoint the head, because what he anoints the head with, actually it shows a very brief second, subliminal, that he's cracking open the sun. Just take a look at it. It's in the first while of the first 10-20 minutes of The Lion King. He breaks open, gets the oil, the anointing out of that. And to cut a long story short, they believe Simba's dead. He ends up in a barren land with Timon and Pumbaa. Then there's water in the barren land. He grows up and returns as the promised one.
Simba? He's alive. He's alive! It is time.
Right, so the reason I'm covering this really is not just to expose that this movie is full of occult symbolism and satanic ritualistic magic and indoctrination of young children. We already know that. That's just a given, unfortunately, now. We're accepting that that is the standard. But this has got some really interesting clues as to the elitist plan and how they work with the Hegelian dialectic, which is just the same thing again. Scar is that Satan, evil dragon, and Simba, or the Lion King side, is the golden. It's both the same beast. Obviously, they're all lions, they're all beasts, right? So, they're both the same beast. And often you'll see Scar attributed with the moon in it. At some points he's like the capstone with the moon behind him. And then you'll get the other side, which is the sun. So it's just 69. It's infinity. It's all part of the same beast. And that is the trick. That's one of the biggest tricks in the book. If you can understand that, you understand their methodology. So this whole thing is a completely Hegelian battle, and something that really woke me up whilst watching The Lion King the other night is exactly the method they are using to deceive people, even the truth movement. And what they're doing is they want people to think that the New World Order is satanic. Now, I'm going to redefine what I just said there because that may sound very strange to you, but I believe this is the truth. They want you and the masses to believe that this system needs to be disbanded. This system is wicked, which it is anyway, of course, but it's Hegelian. So Scar is, I'll show you in a second, is in his song Be Prepared. He is singing about this New World Order and posing as a Hitler-type figure with Nazi soldiers, and that's what they want you to think. They want you, this is why the controlled truth movement are pushing and pushing and pushing, saying this is satanic, the elite are satanic, they are evil, this system is evil. Why is that? Because they want you to accept the sun, as in the Lion King, as in Lucifer, as opposed to Satan, the false love and the false peace. They want you to root for whatever good comes along to defeat this evil system. So at this stage in the game, it's the externalization of the hierarchy. They want you to know that they are satanic and that this whole thing is satanic because the so-called Messiah, which is the false Messiah, the false Jesus, will come along at whatever stage of the game that happens. That figure will come along and say, look, here's the answer. Peace, unity, love. But it's the same thing. There's many in the New Age movement who think the Golden Age is a good thing. This is, listen, New Age. Think about it. New Age. This is what the New World Order is. It is the New Age. You're just playing into the Luciferian lie. It's Satan versus Lucifer. Black versus white. It's like the alchemy of it. They want to turn lead into gold. The black cube, lead, to the gold cube. It's the defeat of the dragon by the false Jesus. This is what this is. This is what's happening. They want you to think that by the onset of this New Age love, world unity, they want you to think that that is the victory over Satan. But it's not. Satan is a masquerader as light. So it's literally just the defeating of the black by the white, but it's the same beast. Christ is the only way out. The real Christ. The one who was sacrificed on the cross and died for our sins over 2,000 years ago. He is the truth. Their false Jesus, Sananda, the Maitreya, every religion across this world is going to accept Sananda, the Antichrist, the false New Age Jesus, as being a defeat of the dragon. But it isn't. In fact, love shall be the whole of the law, Crowley. Love shall be the whole of the law. But if you stand against their wickedness or their plans or their agenda, you will be seen as a terrorist or disrupting the only hope we have of true peace on earth, if you don't love their plan and their ideologies, Luciferian ideologies, then you will be seen as the one not loving, and you will be put to death. And that is not true love. There is no true love of this world. In this world is complete deception. So as I said, this has been in our faces for ever so long. There's a clip that they removed from The Lion King that was a pilot that didn't make it into the final thing. And Scar even sings of the golden age. Listen here.
Didn't you hear me?
No.
Take her away. I am the king. You must do as I say. Ah, so that's the game, eh? Mutiny. Ah, insurrection. Fine. Have it your own way. I don't require your respect, only your obedience. It's time you were all introduced to your ruler's executive staff. Perhaps not the kind you've been used to, but certainly game for a laugh.
We'd like to assure you no fooling. Red meat is no longer our scene. And if now and then we're seen drooling, it's only an ancestor's gene.
So prepare for a glorious future. Be prepared for the bright golden age.
So maybe they took that out because, I mean, the golden age was actually of the other side, of Mufasa, Simba's side. I don't know why they took it out, but it's pretty blatant. So anyway, he's singing about the same thing. It's the same beast, right? So what's he singing in Be Prepared? Remember, this is the dragon, this is the negative, this is Satan, this is the one they want you to hate in order to bring about the false peace. So prepare for the chance of a lifetime. Be prepared for sensational news. A shining new era is tiptoeing nearer. Where do we feature? Just listen to teacher. I know it sounds sordid, but you'll be rewarded when at last I am given my dues. And injustice deliciously squared. Be prepared. I will be king. Stick with me and you'll never go hungry again. Sounds like the Mark of the Beast right there, right? Listen to what else he says here. It's great that we'll soon be connected with a king who'll be all-time adored. Of course, quid pro quo, you're expected to take certain duties on board. The future is littered with prizes, and though I'm the main addressee, the point that I must emphasise is you won't get a sniff without me. So, right, and this is where it gets really, really blatant, okay? Remember, this is the same beast, but they want you to think that this one's evil and the Messiah, the false Messiah, is good, but it's the same system. It's still the New World Order. It's still the golden age of Saturn. So, prepare for the coup of the century. Be prepared for the murkiest scam. Meticulous planning, tenacity spanning, decades of denial by the people is simply why I'll be king, undisputed, respected, saluted, and seen for the wonder I am. Yes, my teeth and ambitions are bared. Be prepared.
The Invictus Games has shown us what can be achieved when wounded, injured and sick servicemen and women rediscover their fighting spirit through sport. In London and again Orlando, we came away moved by the tales of courage that got each competitor through their rehabilitation to the start line of their chosen sport. Tens of thousands of people packed stadiums and millions more watched at home. We were all inspired. We've raised the bar high with each successive games, and I know that Toronto are planning an incredible event when they host the games in September. And I'm happy to say the Invictus Games journey won't end there. But where should the games go next? Well, we had 3 criteria. First, it had to be an iconic city, somewhere known the world over. Second, it needed to be a city with a proud military heritage, which would welcome competitors from all over the world with open arms. And finally, we wanted to go somewhere where they are absolutely sports mad and would really get behind our competitors. It was an easy decision, really. The 2018 Invictus Games are coming to Sydney.
If it's Sydney, mate, you're going to need one of these.
Thanks, mate.
Good decision.
It's all good. Sorry, Dad. Right, Kylie. Hey. Hi, Kylie. Good timing. The 2018 Invictus Games are coming to Sydney. Can I guarantee the Aussies are going to bring it?
Hey Prince Harry, listen, we're stoked the Invictus Games are coming to Sydney, but you don't need to tell the Aussies to bring it. It's guaranteed. No worries.
Sydney, it's on.
Someone press the button, guys.
It's you!
Yes, man cub. So nice to see you again.
Oh, go away. Leave me alone.
Let me look at you. You don't want me to look at you? Then you look at me.
No, sir. I know what you're trying to do, cop.
You do? You don't trust me.
No.
Then there's nothing I can do to help.
You want to help me?
Certainly.
Okay. So let's dedicate this to General Kelly, the Border Patrol, and the ICE agents for doing such an incredible job. All right? This was written by Al Wilson a long time ago. And I thought of it having to do with our borders and people coming in. And we know what we're going to have. We're going to have problems. We have to very, very carefully vet. We have to be smart. We have to be vigilant. So here it is, the snake. It's called The Snake. On her way to work one morning, down the path along the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor, half-frozen snake. His pretty-colored skin had been all frosted with the dew. Poor thing, she cried, I'll take you in, and I'll take care of you. The border. Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, sighed the vicious snake. She wrapped him up all cozy in a comforter of silk and laid him by her fireside with some honey and some milk. She hurried home from work that night, and as soon as she arrived, she found that pretty snake she'd taken in had been revived. Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, sighed that vicious snake. She clutched him to her bosom. You're so beautiful, she cried. But if I hadn't brought you in by now, oh heavens, you would have died. She stroked his pretty skin again and kissed him and held him tight. But instead of saying thank you, that snake gave her a vicious bite. Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, sighed the vicious snake. I have saved you, cried the woman, and you've bitten me, heavens why? You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die. Oh, shut up, silly woman, said the reptile with a grin. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in. Does that explain it, folks? Does that explain it?
Trust in me.